I want to go over my Flaming River rack and my manual brakes because a lot of people have concerns, and I'm going to completely act like I don't have a friend with a YouTube channel. His name is Jonathan Day. You can go look and subscribe him. He's posting a lot of videos of my car, working on his car. He's got a 4-valve big turbo car he's building, and we've got very similar stuff. He's actually doing everything right that I did wrong. So he's the one that I'm going to tell you about the ratio of the pedal that fixed mine. So I have the quick ratio Flaming River rack. I have skinnies in the front because obviously manual rack, in your head you would think wider tire, harder to turn. Could be true. I run the radials and the skinnies. They're just little bitty. And everything seems to, steering wise, work really, really good. The only thing I had to do steering wise is because I didn't buy a steering column and detachable steering wheel and whatnot, homeboy was in a hurry one day and I put all my steering back together, and I have my steering wheel is completely upside down when I'm driving down the road. That's 100% me, nobody else's fault. So if you see any other videos for driving down the road, steering wheel's upside down, that's because we're cool as shit. But the other thing is my manual rack and my manual steering I had to do because I deleted my power steering. There's no power steering here. That's not for race cars. We don't need that crap. So what I did was I took the pump off, I took the reservoir off, I took the rack out, I took the cooler out. I don't need the cooler. I don't need none of that stuff. Took it all out. I saved literally a pound, guys. Maybe 3 pounds. So I saved it. Weight savings. Put the manual rack on. When you do the manual rack, you want to run it all the way to the right. Mark it. Run it all the way to the left. Mark it. Bring it back to the center. Make sure your measurements are the same. Put your bump steer kit in. I'm assuming everyone has a bump steer, because if you don't, you need to get a bump steer kit. Don't be a broke hoe. Do it right. I say that and I've done everything wrong. You can see right here. But rack wise, that's how you center your rack. Hook your steering shaft up. If you're going to order a Flaming River rack and you're going to spend the $500, you're going to read it and it's going to say complete steering rack, blah, blah, blah. But you have to buy old $400 steering shaft there. And that's what gets you. So altogether, I think I paid $900 for this with the bump steer kit, the steering shaft, and the rack. So there's the steering. Awesome. Wouldn't trade it for the world on the street. Obviously, you can tell. I don't know if you can tell. I'm slightly larger than most. I'm 6'3 and a half, 6'4, depending if I'm wearing slippers or my work boots. Zero issues turning. It's actually quite pleasant. It's way better than my 68 F100. My manual brakes. This is the strange 7/8 bore. Don't be a dude with 2 more of those on the shelf that are inch and inch and an eighth and an inch and a quarter bore. Don't be him. Be the guy who buys the 7/8 right out the gate. 7/8 bore with factory brakes works the best because you would think the bigger the shaft, the better. Apparently, I'm not a hydraulic engineer, but that's not how it works. 7/8 bore is where it's at. Then I bought the Motion Raceworks. Of course, I'm going to mention them in my video. I'll walk back to the sticker in a second. I'm trying to get their sticker on my car because I'm cool like that. But I have the door car kit from Motion Raceworks. And I want to tell you that these little hollow fittings that have to screw into there, just word from the wise that had to rebuy them 4 times because I get in a hurry sometimes and mess things up. Screw this fitting in, regardless of having the hose. Screw this fitting into the brass fitting, then put the wrench on the brass fitting and run it into the brake. Because if you don't, this little dude gets oblong and then he leaks for 42 years and pisses you off and makes you want to burn your car. Just word from the wise. I also run this 90. A lot of people don't like this 90. I run it. It actually didn't kink. hose. I actually bought the tools from Eastwood. A lot of people drill a hole and come right through the fender. That's cool. I didn't. Then right here, it looks like a complete mess because we've pulled it off the other week and I haven't zip tied and refastened it. But the door car kit comes with line lock. It's right there. So you can bring it through there, through the line lock, then to the front brakes. The front brakes plug in right here, then go through the distribution block, then one to the right, one to the left. Then the rear brakes come in there, plug in the distribution, goes right here, and then goes straight to the back of the car, all the way to the back. They supply a brass fitting that is roughly right here on my car. It has a bolt hole and it has an in and two outs like this. I brought it out here, I run it away from my exhaust, I teed it, one goes this way, one goes that way. Also supplied in the kit, I'm gonna go right here and I'm gonna show you because I have them sitting up here. I didn't use them because I already had them, but they give you 5 stainless steel hoses for all your brake lines. I didn't use them, I already had them on my car. It's no big deal to me. I just used my old ones. No one can see them. I'm not taking my wheels off. So that's how I did that. And then I brought it to John's. So that brings me to my main point. All of the parts are amazing. The door car kit, amazing. The fittings are, there's no burrs. They give you 25 feet of line. I actually, like I said, I get in a hurry sometimes, especially if I've been drinking and I do things wrong and then I worry about them later. So I bought extra line because I messed the rear one up and I kinked it with a floor jack one day. And the line is really, really nice. That comes in the door car kit. Everything's good. But if you use, actually, I think I've thrown them all away because you shouldn't have them in your toolbox. It's my thing. Those little Advanced Auto brake line where you clamp into it and you screw it in there, throw that away. Go to 3 of your friends that want to build their car and go to eastwood.com and buy the legit, it goes in your vise, you clamp it down, it's a brake line flare fitting. It's a flare maker. And you don't, I'll get that in a minute, you don't want to do the fittings wrong because, one, they'll probably not ever fail to the point where you don't have brakes on your car. What happens is every time you leave your car somewhere, it freaking leaks for hours. And I've done it 4 times on 2 different cars. My buddy even did it on his truck and literally went through like 14 feet of hose, I guess you'd call it, or line, trying to do the same thing with the stupid Advanced Auto things. Don't do that. Get the Eastwood one. It goes in a vise. You plug your line into it. You spin it to the setting you want, and then it's got a big old handle, and you just go cha-ching and make your flare fittings. Freaking flawless. They're like $250. I know it's expensive. You could be like some people, and you buy it, and then you send it back. I know a lot of people that do it. But if you get 2 or 3 friends, it's going to be worth it all day. I redid my car with that tool after I got rid of that little stupid screwy flare fitting thing. I did it with mine. Not a single one leaked after I did it with the legit flare maker tool from Eastwood. Definitely a need. So once I ran all of the lines, bolted that to the flywheel, or to the firewall, inside the car, like I said earlier, sometimes Jay White doesn't like to do things right. And you go under here, and I don't know how to turn the dang flash on while you're filming. I guess you just can't do it. But so your brake pedal is obviously a pedal, goes all the way up. At the top is the hinge, or the pin where the hinge is. About 2 inches lower than that is the peg for which the brake master cylinder comes through the firewall and slides onto. When you're doing manual brakes, I was not a firm believer in this. I recently was brought to the light by my buddy, but I thought it was just a matter of not being a little girl. I thought that by not changing the pedal ratio from 4-to-1 to 5-to-1 or to 6-to-1, that just means that my big tree trunk of a leg, I would just have to push a little harder. No. That's not how leverage works, apparently. I drove my car for 6 months and just hit the brakes hard. I put the auto in it. It doesn't have engine braking. It's manual valve body and blah, blah. It doesn't engine brake no more. So when you let off the throttle, it's all brakes. Super sketchy pass. And didn't like it. So we bring it home. I traded my buddy. I had to sandblast a bunch of his parts, like those down there. I sandblasted the parts. He crawled up under my dash, took my whole pedal assembly out. We moved the pin up, the little nubby pin. We grinded the back off of it, knocked it out with a hammer, slid it up, and TIG welded it back in. And that gave me about a 5-to-1 pedal ratio. It's like factory brakes, guys. Like, I'm going to say that besides the slight factory brakes where you have a inch where it kind of like falls into brake, it's not like that no more. It's just literally like half inch, and then you can confirm that the brakes are working flawless now. So that is a must. You can't get away from that. When it says you have to have a 5-to-1 pedal ratio or a 6-to-1, you have to. You don't get a choice. Do that. Don't be lazy like me. I'm making these videos so you're not lazy like me. I've done everything wrong. I could tell you I've done everything wrong. I accept the fact that I do everything wrong, and then I spend a lot of time and money trying to fix it. That's just how I'm wired. It's not my fault. So if you have any questions about manual brakes or my manual rack, I guess just comment on here, like, subscribe, dislike, fight with me. I really want to do that. Seems really fun. I like to talk shit on Facebook. Why not YouTube? So you can see anything else here. I'm putting multiple videos out tonight, maybe tomorrow, depending on how long these videos are. But if you see anything else you want to know about, how I did anything, how I got things to work, how I got my really nice brand new OEM headlights from Amazon.com for $50, ta-da, and make it look fresh, just hit me up. I'll make a small video of what you need. Try not to ramble too much. Can't promise anything, but you guys have a good night.